Welcome back to During Business Hours. My name's Christopher.
And I'm Eric.
If you didn't know, now you know. Let's get into it. I brought this up in the last podcast about Kanye. His anti-Semitic remarks have gotten him canceled. Mm-hmm. Was it Parler, Instagram, Meta, Facebook, TikTok? He even got banned off Fortnite. He doesn't play Fortnite. So
they just wanted to make sure.
Erased him. Just like I tell people that, talk shit about my family and the family tree. Like the erasure. Like you just won't be spoken about for years to come.
You just don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Like who? What? That's on a different note, that would suck. But so he got like disowned like family. He got erased. Mm-hmm. And he did it to himself. Yeah, he's having a mental breakdown, no excuse, whatever. Everyone gave him every opportunity. I watched the Lex Friedman podcast where he like throws softball and like, you're not meaning it about a people, you're meaning it about a person, right? Just one person, and trying to like, hey, you can be racist to anyone you want. Just make sure it's an individual, not a race.
But that's still racist.
It's worded he really tried to like side with him because he valued him as an artist, and like you could see and he's like, you trust me, right? And he's like, I know, I don't fucking trust you. I wouldn't trust anybody if they were my shoes. Should I trust anybody? He's like, man, that really hurt. That just makes me not want to do this podcast. Like this little bitch, and I say this with the utmost respect. Lex Friedman has done a lot to interview and humanize a lot of crazy people. If you don't know who Lex Friedman is, watch some of his content. He has some of the long form podcasts with like Zuckerberg, Rogan. He's trying to get Putin on, all kinds of shit. He went and interviewed in Ukraine and the president there. But he interviews Kanye, and it's just like all respect for that man goes out the window. Just the baby attitude. There's a lot of snowflakes online. Like personally, I don't give a shit. But I was shocked. Kanye dug his own grave, and now the only thing that makes sense, mental health break, take care of yourself, or he's trying to get canceled and end all business relationships so he can just disappear.
So I'm saying he wants out of all his contracts, and then he's going to retire.
My wife was like, he owns a lot of land. And he has enough money, he could just disappear. Maybe he's just sick of it and wants to take his kids and just fight it in the courts and talk about options.
I think one quick way to get out of all your contracts is to have them drop you. Mm-hmm. And then you just sue them down to not billing you money, and boom, done. Sunrise Mall getting renovated. Do you see that?
They're turning it into condominiums.
Yep.
So I remember one of my early, there's fucking boarded up windows.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty sad how far it's fallen. Did you
grow up around here?
Orangevale.
So
Sunrise Mall was the hopping spot until the Roosevelt Galleria opened up and slowly began this quicker murdering of it.
It was the place to be in the region.
Remember when it had the train sets and everything?
Been through
That's how far back, yeah.
When United Artists.
When they had the full movie theater that wasn't just the matinees,
the existence of additional.
I remember standing in front of this corner shop with my friend Andrew, and I ran into this girl, Melanie. Everyone knew she was like, she hopped around. This is in high school, freshman year had just passed. So it was end of summer, starting junior year. And we were walking past here. We had just pocketed a couple of belts and stuff from Hot Topic, some pins and like razor blade things that we were all emo, right? And what reminds me of this right here, because Hot Topic used to be at the end there. Mm-hmm. And then you had this game center that sold Pokemon cards, not GameStop. And then it was
trading card store.
Yeah, it was a trading card store, like box store, game store.
The general hobbies, yeah.
And then it was Journeys. And then, it was
Journeys was one more.
Like an NFL store. And then Journeys was the corner store here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this corner store was Journeys.
Before the Journeys became the printing store or whatever.
Yeah, the custom T-shirts. So I remember standing here and we're talking about something. I think we were going to get my mom Bordeaux's or something from C's, which was across the way. And it was busy. Like where I'm moving to only has like 15,000 people. There was probably 15,000 a day that walked in that mall at the time.
Easy.
2005, 2004. And I remember this girl walks up to us and it's like, Chris, oh my God. Because she was dating this guy named Logan, who was a friend of Shane, who was a friend of my brother's, so on and so forth. And I just look at her, I'm like, I don't know you. I'm wearing a ball cap or a beanie. That's what it was. And it was like a padded beanie. And then Andrew turns to her and goes, sorry, who are you? Chris had an accident a couple of months ago. Yeah, he doesn't remember anything for the last couple of years. And it was the one time we got somebody to truly believe, because we played this prank a couple of times, that I had an accident and I just don't know you. And so the stone-faced, like, so how do I know you? Where do I know you from? What did we do? We weren't involved, were we? Man, I wish I could remember. It just reminded me of that. And it was not 2 weeks later that this girl comes up to me at school and just slaps me in the face. Good times. Good times. But there was so much stuff that happened in this mall. Like the United Artists, that was the go-to spot for me and my ex-girlfriend at the time was Devin. And me, her, a bunch of people would go watch... What was it? We went and saw Grimm when it came out. Like Brothers Grimm.
Yeah.
Dude,
I remember
that's
when
how
movie
old
was
that
the hot
is.
shit, yeah.
Yeah. The Triple X we went and saw there.
Our mall
Bro, the
is
Sunrise Mall was
ready
also
to
sold. That was back when the
reinvent
Sacramento
itself.
Strangler used to hang out
So the
here
city of
before his first
Citrus
disappearance,
is embarking
which is
on a
terrifying.
specific process,
Could have been
which
got.
is a zoning process that will design this site and elevate it.
So are they making the
Working with,
stores condos, or are they
Sunrise Mall's property
bulldozing it,
owners,
fixing
of
it
which
all
there
up?
are
I think they're
five.
gonna bulldoze
And
it
when
and
we
make it all
begin the
condos.
process, we will
It'd be so
connect
funny for
with
every
all
apartment to
of
be one of the stores. You'd have to pay a
stakeholders
lot of
that
money
know
to
and
get
love
space like
Sunrise
that, though.
Mall, as well as our community to get ideas and set vision for what Sunrise Mall can be. What we know now is that malls like ours are no longer core commercial centers, that when they diversify successfully, they change into places where people can shop, work, play, and live. So we're really looking forward to seeing what that vision
So watch
looks
them
like
turn the
for
major
Sunrise
outlets
Mall,
into apartments, and
ask
then
for
it's
everyone to
a
keep an
indoor
ear
mall.
out for additional ways
Like
to
fountains,
participate
you
and
know,
help us vision
but indoor.
what can be.
Yeah, well, that's what they did with fountains.
That is what they did with fountains, yes.
You know, I mean, that depletes the amount of people that come in and look around, and they might, the other stores get customers from the people there, and there's a lot less people coming here now, you know? In fact, a lot of the people that here, they do a walk from down to the end and back and forth because it's air conditioning and, you know.
A lot of
you
indoor
can walk,
exercising,
but
yep.
That ain't gonna do anything for business, you know. Sure ain't.
It's been in this state for so long. When I do occasionally go there, I see the same old man there who's been walking. He used to be fat, now he's fitter.
I wonder
Obviously.
what I never saw. I wonder what the upstairs to Sacramento Bee. I don't know why you're not dead yet either. I used to work for the Sacramento Bee. If you didn't know, if you talk about slave wages, they pay slave wages. 5 cents a paper. You break your back on the route, stuff like that, or in their warehouse. They didn't give a shit. I could probably get a class action lawsuit together of over 1,000 people that have either been injured or worked for them and gotten paid nothing, or promised to get paid something and got paid nothing, because they would hire like illegal immigrants and people and get trucks of people, give them keys and be like, oh, it's got GPS, and have them run routes. There was a guy who had 40 routes.
Don't they also make you fold your own papers and shit too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
All at 3 a.m.
Because you got to get
3
the
a.m.
news out for the day.
And you would have people that had just a bunch of cars they owned, and then give them to these people. And if they wrecked it, they just report it stolen, like buster cars, and then just hand them out 50, 60
Especially if they're
rounds.
hiring immigrants. It's so easy to pin on them. That's so shitty.
So funny the way that this one guy had tripped, fell, broke his back, went to work the next day. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, I can't do anything else. It's almost like
He can't pay his medical bills if he's not
he had
working.
no medical.
Yeah.
But he had been there 15 years. He got fired 3 days later.
Because his quota came down.
Exactly. And you talk about a shitty thing, paper routes. When I was a kid, everyone was like, grab a paper route. You'll make money, you'll learn skills, so on and so forth.
5 cents paper was great in the 40s, like in decades ago.
Yeah, it's been consistent. And then it went up to like 25 cents on Sundays. I think my uncle still does fucking newspapers. My uncle Norm, he's the one who got me into it. Norm, sorry, bud. He's also the one who used to do electronics repair, wanted to work with us for a while, and I just didn't want to mix that side of the family and things. But craziness, man. Sacramento Bee, there's no more rub and tugs in the United Artists.
Not that those ever happened.
Does he actually fire the top artist?
Did he? In, fired.
No, that's not how it happened yesterday.
Suspended pending. Done.
Yesterday he went in there, had a meeting with everyone
he fired 3 people.
Nobody was fired.
He's fired
yesterday. When he first got in there, he had a meeting at their bar, their indoor like coffee bar.
And then he fired him.
Basically saying that the company hadn't given him enough information, and he alleged that they had breached the agreement that they had.
They did.
But then Twitter sued him, trying to force him to go through with the deal. It made its way through the Delaware court system, and it was set to go to trial in October. But before it went to trial, while they were doing depositions and preparing for trial, Elon Musk again offered to buy the company for the original price of $44 billion. Musk has suggested to potential investors that he could lay off nearly 75% of Twitter's staff. The company has around 7,500 employees now, so that could bring it down to a couple thousand. We don't know exactly what Musk will do now that he has taken over the company, but he did change his Twitter bio this week to read Chief Twit.
Yeah.
He's said a lot about how he thinks Twitter should be a platform for free speech. He says he wants to hew really close to local laws, and he has suggested that he might loosen content moderation. He's also said that he would allow former President Trump back on the site if he wished.
If he were to reinstate your Twitter account, Mr. President, would you resume tweeting? And what would be your first tweet?
I probably wouldn't have any interest. Twitter's become very boring.
It was not correct to ban Donald Trump. I think that was a mistake.
And that he is kind of against these permanent bans or wants to use them the least amount possible. So it's possible that Twitter could see some reduced rules with Musk in charge, although we don't have an exact rule.
Original rules. I would say freedom of speech, no matter how shitty a person should be able to say it. Not free of the consequence, but a person should absolutely be able to go and make anti-Semitic remarks, because that is
hate speech.
Yeah, but he or she should be able to do that. That's the freedom that we're given as human beings.
But then people shouldn't be forced to be subjected to it.
They never are. You can turn around, walk away. You can not look at it. But I do think consequence is real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that everyone should go out and make any types of those comments. What I'm saying is, if I wanted to use any vulgar or hateful language, I should be able to do so. You can't take away my voice. That is a core function of freedom, right? Freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms, so on and so forth. Now, the way you use these things, there's moderation, and then there's like removal. You can moderate it, give them a ban, 30 days, 60 days, keep increasing it.
Do we really even need the people who just send the N-word to black people for 6 hours a day back on the site?
A lot of these are bots or spam. Then there's account verifications, real-time geo-tracking, stuff like that. They could know who these people are, and when it gets like truly threatening, true harassment where they're jumping accounts, doing all kinds of crazy shit, they have the ability. They know who these people are, and they just don't turn that over for privacy reasons, so on and so forth. Our government's already a Gestapo. I'm just saying. They got all that information. They are
not kidnapping people in the middle of the night as much as a Gestapo would.
As much. I'm just saying.
They happen it. The all the Hillary got stuff and those interviewers who just disappeared. I gotta get Andrew to do something real quick for Allie.
Okay.
And I'll message you if we gotta unhook it. Oh, and I pulled up the list of people he fired, and they're already suing for payouts.
What?
His the Twitter execs.
Oh yeah,
he let go the CEO.
Oh yeah, but that's
Parag. He let go the CFO Ned, and then he also.
But he already knew that, and then equated all of their payouts into the Twitter deal. That was expected.
As 3 hours ago, they were already asking for more because of blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I understand that. But this was already in the deal. He knew that's one of the reasons they kept trying to falsify things and crash the deal. There's a lot more at stake than just he didn't want to buy it. He didn't want them to run it. And they kept trying to say, well, this is how we're going to retain all the people. We're going to make all these offers. But they were going to go to court, and either the judge was going to force him to pay the amount he already knew he was going to pay, plus some. And in business, he wanted a discount, but he also wanted his terms. Now, to anyone who has ever done an acquisition, and I say that not to try and be like, oh, an acquisition. If you're trying to buy somebody something, make sure you do your due diligence. I think the last company I bought was Legends Tech. So at a time where I was making 40, 50K liquid a month, I was like, you know what? I should buy up some of these smaller stores that have a lot of inventory. And so an option for like the guy who was in Oklahoma but didn't have any records, didn't have any sales. No offense, bud. I know you watch this. Some people just don't give a shit. Like, you can really tell they don't give a shit. And this is one of those guys who just didn't care. Him and his buddy were running a place. They'd put like $5,000 into it. And 2 years later, they were making like $10K a month. Overhead was $6,500. And they were like, oh, you know, we make $1,500 to $2,000 each a month. Great. And I was like, well, I'll give you $2,500 for it. Made, I think, like $7,000 or $8,000 on the inventory. We still use some of their heaters, some of their tools. To this day.
I was like, we still got a box of a couple phone cases or something.
Oh, yeah. And I got all their accounts. The only reason that we use Mobile Centrics is
because you have their accounts.
That's it.
Yeah.
I would have never used Mobile Centrics. Never. I was using eBay, China, direct buyer stuff, direct seller stuff until I acquired them back in like 2020, early 2020. And now he still works at Staples. Totally fine. But I got one hell of a deal. Just wasn't worth, 10x. But it brings me to something Rudo, one of our channel guys, does. And he sent me a motivational video today that was like, you ever heard of the rule of doubling? Every 9 years, double your money, or every deal, 9 months, double your money as long as it doubles each year. You are 9 doubles away from $1 million from 1,000. So you double it 2, 4, 6 to 12, 12 to 24, 24, so on and so forth. So 9 doubles from 1,000 to $1 million, and then 10 doubles from $1 million to $1 billion. So you just have to find those deals. And he's like, oh, I really need to work on how to double my money. And I'm like, that's easy. Find somebody who's desperate for cash. If you have cash, buy something at half the value and then be good at selling it. But 9 times out of 10, I'll say a majority of the time, if you can't sell something in any business,
buying it's not going to help you.
Yeah. A lot of these people will buy up comic books, gold, silver, all this shit, but they can't sell. So now what are you going to do?
Gold and silver is valuable. If you don't sell it, it's not worth anything,
Well, nothing is valuable unless you can sell it. It's only worth
it only obtains value when someone purchases it for the price. The whole crazy thing with crypto is
a precedent.
Yeah, there's no value until it's purchased.
Well, with crypto, it's got a value, even though it's never been purchased.
If you don't cash it out, it don't count for nothing. Yeah, I could have 16 million in Bitcoin, and unless I have US dollars, that ain't nothing.
Yeah, well, not even just dollars. If I had British sterling, so on and so forth.
Any currency, I could then go lose a third of it to convert it to whatever I want.
The one thing that I find that's really weird, so like Japan has 0% interest, like almost negative interest, right? Most banks will, if you don't know, when you borrow money from a bank, they want 100% back to them. But your interest is like, so I borrow 100 grand. They want a 6% interest. That's 206,000. So where's the extra 100,000 come from? Well, that's the principal you're borrowing. They're going to double their money. And it's so funny. Most of the home loans I was looking into, I was looking at this and I saw a video. And I was like, well, Japan has almost negative interest where they'll pay you even better
As
rates.
a culture, they don't believe in interest.
Well, they have so much stockpile of money. They don't have trillions of dollars of debt. They're trying to give away their money. And I was like, so why don't they lend to people outside of the U.S. or, in the U.S.?
Because America's bad with money.
So if I needed a business loan for something, I could just open a business in Japan. That's all I would have to do is open a business in Japan and then borrow money there, transfer it to U.S., exchange rates, etc. That'd be one. Or if it was easy, you could like call a bank in Tokyo, be like, "Domo arigato, need X, Y, and Z, whatever." I don't speak Japanese, but Konnichiwa. That's what it is. Hello, konnichiwa.
Domo arigato. They're gonna just they're like hello, and you're like domo arigato, and they just
I know, right?
Nope.
Konnichiwa. So you answer, and you're like, konnichiwa. I need to borrow money, and they're like, absolutely, absolutely. So they transfer you money, whether it's their currency or the U.S. You're borrowing money. Pay the interest, which is zero over there. That would be one hell of a way to make money right now. If you could set up a way internationally to make money, but then it's internationally. Money
but
laws,
then with transfer fees and taxes and imports and whatever, are you?
I don't want to get into that because it would just be
too complicated.
So apparently, Musk declared Cat Turd 2, whose profile is a white cat and whose bio simply reads, Chief Turd previously made news when Donald Trump retweeted the account multiple times after it broadcast election lies and tweeted in support of the former president. Cat Turd 2 did not immediately respond to a request for a comment, but must have been busy in their litter box. So apparently this guy, Cat Turd 2, says, report, day one of Elon Musk owning Twitter. I'll be doing this every day to see if anything changes. As of now, I'm still shadow banned, ghost banned, and select banned. And Twitter removed 1,200 followers today. As usual, nothing has changed. I'll report again tomorrow. And then Elon Musk said, I will be digging in more today. Apparently he spent the entire day just going through shadow banned people's accounts.
What did Cat Turd do to get all those bans?
He supported Donald Trump's something. Did you see the John Fetterman and Dr. Oz debate?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Oh, what? Pelosi's husband was attacked?
Yes. They figured out who the guy is.
Is that the guy?
That's the guy. And he was asking, where's Nancy, as he was attacking her husband. So they were targeted.
David DePate.
Yeah, hitting him with a fucking hammer.
Well, it sucks to be Pelosi's husband.
Sucks to have people hunt you down and try to murder you.
What did they do? Possibly. What did they possibly do?
Be politicians.
No. Yeah, I'll say it online. They are manipulating the stock market on a day-to-day basis.
All politicians.
No, not all. They created a law.
Every single politician works the market to get their zillions.
Nope.
I can almost guarantee that.
No. There is insider trading at the highest level. Who's the highest level?
All of the people on the House and the fucking Senate.
Pelosi is the highest level. She is the speaker. Everyone goes to her so that she collects all this information. She hears about every bill, all this bullshit. So she knows what's going to happen before it happens. The husband trades the stocks. They made more money than God in 2020.
A lot of all those fucking politicians on both sides do it.
So they show all the trades for, where's the guy? Hey, look at that. Capital Trades. Through this, Nancy Pelosi made more money than all of them combined in 2020. Nancy Pelosi's husband. All of them for everyone that was present in 2020. But if we go to state, right, and we'll say California, political party, Democrats. Oh, God. Pelosi, 81 trades, volume of $68 million, 5.4.
Real made over double.
Oh, nice. Last trade was 9.2, 1.7, 7.1. Just Nancy had killed it. But so they made a law that was going to hurt Nancy, but they made it capped where you'll pay a fine of $250,000. So if you make more after taxes than $250,000, the leverage went up. If you don't, leverage mean what they bet. So imagine you're making 2-1 on a bet. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who may watch this will understand. You buy a lottery ticket for 20 and you make 40. That's a 2-1, right? They need to put down $1 million, and it needs to 8x for them to leverage $500,000 profit, right? So taxes, bullshit, but then they can just keep trading. It can stay as an equity. There's all kinds of other things, but these options apparently that they had put on there were so crazy. You would have to have insider information to what NVIDIA was doing with GPUs back in 2020. They had to. And so they knew it. And anyone else, the SEC, FCC, all these TTs, whatever, would go after them. Anyone else. This person is manipulating not only politics as a speaker, ice cream as a crazy person, stock market. I have no remorse. Like Elon Musk gets hit by a car tomorrow. Zero remorse. You want to know why? Why are you walking when you could fly everywhere in a fucking jet? I have zero remorse. Zero. Like if you got enough money to be God, why should we then waste energy when you make some stupid mistake? Like they have security. There's no reason why they are in a home where a guy can just walk in without shoes and a hammer and attack your husband. There's no reason, especially in San Francisco, when I haven't talked about this on air. Even Rob Schneider left and a bunch of people are exiting the state. California had San Francisco and LA, right? For your big comedians, politicians, actors, actresses. You've lost like 20, 30% of them. Not even politically affiliated, just because of the fucking, just because of the homeless, the violence. There was statistics that you sent me. Right here is the San Francisco Police Department's crime data.
Beginning of this year till 23rd, which was the last time it was updated.
And now, San Francisco Police Department, from 1/1/2022 to 10/23/2022, this year alone, this says so much. Homicide, 43.
Down 2%.
Down 2%.
Up 8%.
Up 8%.
Which is good when you compare it to Sacramento, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Robbery.
Up 5%.
Up 5%. Human trafficking, and we'll say assault, 11%, right? It's up 11%.
Sex-based human trafficking, down 55. The servitude, slavery, human trafficking, down 66%. Burglary, down 21%. Motor vehicle theft, up 4%. Arson, going down 11%, and then larceny/theft up 15%.
This is bullshit. And the problem is, we already know San Francisco doesn't arrest for most of these things.
Those are omitted.
These are all omitted.
These are highest possible. If multiple crimes happened, they counted as the highest, being homicide in that order, and then. These are people who are not necessarily in jail, but there was a crime. They are held.
It doesn't sound like a lot when you look at 15% increase in larceny and theft, right? Until you look at the chart.
That's 4,000 extra people.
Because it's 28,000, almost 28,200 crimes. How big? That means a crime every city block?
How many?
Every city block, every day?
How many days are we into the year?
2 months, less than 300 days.
So 300-ish days at...
Exactly 300 days. At 10:28, yeah. 300 days.
Either way, approximation will get to the point. 300 days.
65 days from the end of the year.
The 4,000 extra people by 300 days. That's 13 extra people getting robbed a day.
Well, not even just extra, but we're saying
that's on top of
how many a day getting robbed at this point?
Because then that's
almost 100 people a day. 100 people a day getting robbed.
93 and a third people. So every third day, an extra person gets robbed.
That's fucking crazy. That's just San Francisco. Now, San Francisco has this thing where the DA doesn't like to prosecute, so you don't arrest. Cops don't do anything. You could light a fire in a car, Molotov style, watch it burn, watch it explode, watch the fire department come out, put it out, then reignite it, and cops will finally show up. And then they're going to say, oh, you burned it. Thank you for exercising your freedoms.
I doubt that's what happens. They will not thank you for exercising your
Have
freedoms.
you seen Trade Row in San Francisco?
All the homeless people chilling?
No.
Trade Row, show me.
So there is a spot in San Francisco where stolen items sold in San Francisco. Flea markets, Trade Row.
Seen the viral videos of shoplifters looting stores in the Bay Area.
Authorities say they are organized gangs of criminals who sell the merchandise to a fencing operation. New at 6:30, KTVU's Evan Cernovsky went to an East Bay flea market where
after all of
what they
cosmetics, laundry detergent, and razors.
How much for the razor?
The deals are astonishing. But authorities say it's at flea markets like this one in Oakland where much of the Bay Area's shoplifted merchandise is resold.
They know they can turn it around quickly.
Shuttered, like San Francisco. More than a dozen Walgreens stores have shuttered. Target has limited its hours, blaming rampant shoplifting. Authorities say 85% of these cases are perpetrated by organized criminals, even if the items they're stealing seem relatively mundane.
Those stores,
Monday.
and items.
21 criminals mostly go after everyday items, laundry detergent, other popular after their
so
swipe.
This is the one in Oakland, I guess. But yeah, you see all this. Point. You get the point. So they have rows, right? And it's funny because there's an entire like drug row. You got Trade Row or like resale row. You got Skid Row.
Yeah, listen, I don't like being on camera. I don't like cameras and in my face.
Got it, man. During the pandemic, the aim of the new legislation thieves to steal from brick and mortar businesses.
We've also seen two obviously stolen goods being sold on the street. And by obviously stolen, meaning, hundreds of bottles of shampoo with the Walgreens label on them.
Gotta pack it up.
Crews from the city's Department of Public Works are now tasked with enforcing the new law, making sure their vendor looking for those selling stolen
goods. We don't want them out here. We don't want to be supporting that in the community.
Law is also aimed at giving those vendors.
All they can really do is tell you to
any citation. The DPW didn't seize any of the
goods. If you get a permit, I bet you they can't kick
we saw today that will be done are still being ironed out.
Christian, thank you.
But they're not smart,
but
right?
They could try and bar you.
Well, last night we told you about
this
people who are
is Trade Row.
This is the San Francisco's car break-ins.
Car break-ins. They just go to this one park.
ABC
and they just throw away all your crap that isn't cash or credit card.
So this guy owns this. This is crazy to me. This guy owns an apartment above this park and has been documenting this for months and sending it to the police. San Francisco. I understand why people get attacked, and I have no sympathy if it's a politician, if it's an officer, anyone being under this, what they've created. This is a bubble that they have allowed. And now, if you're there, you've welcomed this. It is Escape from New York. It is Pliskin. It's a free-for-all.
More than 7 months ago, this tech worker who lives near Garfield Square in the Mission District sent police a lot of information about a fencing operation for stolen goods, luggage and laptops taken from car break-ins openly bought and sold. Still, police have made no arrests and tell me the investigation is ongoing.
And the way he laid things out with license plates and descriptions
and things like that, I mean, that gives us a lot of investigative leads that we could certainly follow up on.
Have the police been aggressive enough, do you think, in addressing these things, like this resident who sees the open-air market for stolen goods?
No, no, they haven't.
Supervisor Hillary Ronan and Mayor London Breed have sponsored a new law that requires proof of ownership and permits for anyone selling goods on the street, whether it's this fencing operation or the mission's sidewalk vendors. But instead of police, the plan is to have Department of Public Works staff enforce it.
Unless something's marked as stolen, you can't prove that.
Exactly.
I have 19 laptops. You can't sell that
until they go to the police.
It.
So if my car gets broken into, if your car gets broken into, anyone's car gets broken into, the point being, you call the cops, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I know that if I'm in a place like this, they're not going to do anything. So I no longer trust the system. I'll call my fucking insurance.
You'll have a better...
If you know me, you know I love insurance. I am insured to the tilt. My comprehensive coverage will cover stacks of old laptops in the trunk. Please, somebody, crack the trunk. It's one of those things. I store it. I take it to and from work, so on and so forth. Anything that's in there is now insured. My car seats are insured. But I'm smart, and I know that extra $100 a month I spend will protect one break-in that will net me the entire life of the insurance policy. You know what I mean?
If not more.
If not more. But we're not going to count for more. We're going to say it's only going to take exactly what I need the whole time. But these people have bred this. And this video, I think, was months ago. April 15th, 2022. Mm-hmm. And they're just now starting to crack down on the street vendors only. Mission Street Trade Row or whatever has not been cracked down yet. They're still doing this. The guy is still posts to Twitter and Instagram all the time. This is ongoing. So they started doing drugs and shit like that. So they started throwing rocks at the guy's house. He boarded everything up. They found out who he was.
So you see the video. You can...
Yeah.
That house.
So it's sad that he can't live in his multi-million-dollar condo anymore, and he's exited the state. But he's still got cameras up. It's crazy. I do not trust San Francisco. I don't trust California, but sure as shit, it is walking into a war zone. I don't care how big your house is. The cops don't want to do anything. And so to see this much of an outcry for Pelosi's husband, what about the 100 people a day that are burgled and assaulted? What about...
To care about all of them.
What about all of these people that are involved, the 10 people a day that are robbed? You know, the assaults at one a week that are only one a week. My ass. I'm just saying, this is ridiculous. So if you go to Sacramento, where they actually report this crime, what's the difference, do you think? This is only, an hour away? 70 miles?
San Francisco?
Yeah.
3 hours.
No, it's how many miles? Hour and 50
Only 90
minutes.
miles? Why did I think 500
Yeah, it's like
miles?
90 miles. So when you're going, if you go at 120 miles an hour, you will get there in 45 miles. Sorry. I didn't even realize. I thought it was really like 45. I get there in like just over an hour.
It usually takes me 3 hours, but I go in the middle of traffic, You
also have to drive with your hands. Okay.
Murder, up 22%. I'm skipping this one because it's the most shocking. We're coming back to it later.
The R word. Hold on. No, just go straight for it. The R word, which we can't say on YouTube for monetization.
Up 93%.
93%. 93%.
It's almost doubled.
Robbery is up 34%. This is Sacramento. This is not where they don't prosecute. This is where they prosecute.
All assaults up 21%.
This
assaults.
is impossible. It's impossible that the statistics from San Francisco are so low. Impossible. That means altering, or they just don't arrest. Proving my point.
If there's no arrest, there's no crime.
It is
no charges, no crime.
That's like if you don't take a test, you're not pregnant. If you don't take a test, you don't got COVID. It's like just so many tests. It's perfect, Total assaults are up 34%. Single assaults are up 21%.
Up 21%.
Nothing is down. Let me get that right. Nothing is down.
Nope.
This is all bad for business. Businesses are closing up, shuttering downtown to west. I don't care. People are like, F this place and leaving. And it's always the people who workers are left holding the bag. Me and Andrew were joking the other day that I could just leave, board the place up. You'd never know. Send you a check. But that's what they're doing. That's what shitty business owners are doing. They're leaving in troves. Burglary is up 25%. Larceny is up 14%. Motor vehicle theft, 16%. Yearly total is only 19%. Year-to-date comparison. The changes are, in the R word, 93% total. From 45 to 87 declared. That's only January to May. That's crazy of 2022. That's 93%
this
only
isn't
up to
even
May.
as much of the year as the San Francisco.
So we're going to assume it's up 180%. Just because the statistics,
we don't know that.
we'll say at least over 100%. It's over 100% because you're going to claim more. It can't go down. It can only go up.
Yeah.
We'll say 100% or more.
It could stop if 100% of all R's in the last 4 months, just zero. It's very unlikely.
Not very, that's impossible.
No, everything's possible.
No,
Statistically,
no.
nothing can approach zero.
Statistically, I can say you're wrong because verifiably, I know that somebody's been raped and claimed it.
But then that's one. And then if you're
that means the number went up.
But the percentage doesn't go up if that's the only one.
That's one out of at least 90.
But we don't. You're speculating.
But you're saying most likely.
If we can't talk raw numbers and then speculate, this is the only thing I'm trying to say.
We're speculating everything.
Speculating at all.
We are not factual in all of everything. We just look at the numbers and we give our opinion.
Yeah.
My point being, everything here is bad for business. Everything is bad for living, bad for business. You should not trust. The whole thing here started from Pelosi's fucking husband. He is but a number to me. Because when I look at shit like this, I see so much more than just a guy that's married to a girl that controls the House of Cards television show. That's all it is to me. I have no more concern for him over thousands of other people that have closer ties to me. This is more concerning. This single piece of paper here with these numbers on it are more concerning than that human life. Absolutely.
Getting into too big of a moral.
Well, no, because these people are our customers, our people, so on and so forth.
No.
I have to say that one publicized.
Can't get into it.
Why?
Now we're getting into like philosophy bullshit. Then I want to make points on them. We can't.
Why not?
It's already. I got things to do today, and I'm not going to tell you the frickin' how do you weigh one human life versus another.
Easily.
You can't.
Easily.
You can't.
I personally
can't.
Absolutely.
And that's a different in moral and philosophical beliefs.
I think it's
barring
interpretation.
Like a fucking Hitler type, an absolute scum of all of human history. You can't say that any individual person.
Would you shoot one man in the head to save 10 people on a railroad track? 30 seconds tied down.
I don't know any of these people.
No.
I can't judge that.
No. I know none of these people.
Mm-hmm.
I probably know some somehow, but my point is Pelosi's husband should not be held into a higher standard if you don't know these numbers in your area. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, a robbery somewhere super far away. All these people are crying out like, oh, that's so bad. I wish you'd like X, Y, and Z.
They're crying out because of he's looking for Nancy. He's hunting her down. It's a premeditated, politically charged thing.
It's not just Nancy. I'm saying she's a bad person anyway. Like, cool.
I won't debate that. But as far as the morality on saying you don't give a fuck about her husband.
I absolutely don't give two shits about her husband. That's me personally. But I also feel like he is just another statistic in their shitty.
If he's just another statistic, then why do any of these statistics matter?
Because these ones have an effect on my life.
Every single
San
person you've ever met,
you could red button San Francisco and it wouldn't have an effect on my life.
That would have a huge effect on society if you red button San Francisco.
Oh,
that would ruin
the fallout.
So much shit.
If you red button and it deleted it, like a circular hypothetical, just for
that would have such huge repercussions.
Hypothetically.
All over, everywhere.
Magic, right? Just magic. So everything works out perfectly, right? Just cut out all of San Francisco, people. It never existed. It's now just green land. Boom. San Francisco doesn't exist. How would you and your persons be affected?
I got a lot of family out there. Boom, done, ruined. My life's over. 27 people in my family gone forever.
27.
I got 30 plus family members out there, and I don't care about 8 of them. So I'm estimating 27 people that I care about gone.
See, I don't have any family out there. None that I would care. But for me, they have
like eco-fascism at that point. And that's stuff you don't want to support either side of anything.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that for Pelosi's husband to have any concern, he would have to have an effect on my life. That's how I view it.
None of these people affect your life either. So your argument is
the problem is these rates in my town do affect my life, because the more this goes up, the more I see it out my window, the more that it happens to me and I become the statistic, because we already know that my home's been vandalized. My place of business has been vandalized. We've been burglarized. There's been assaults. There's been larceny, theft. We've had catalytic converters stolen. We've had homeless people try to rob us. There's all kinds of things that have happened to me that have affected my life. I cannot stand this shit happening outside my door. And they're tying our hands to where we can't defend ourselves. We can't speak our minds. The more we speak our minds, the more we can be censored. Goes back into freedom of speech, freedom to bear arms, freedoms to do whatever we want, good, bad, or other. I believe you have these core freedoms that you were given. Well, not given, your rights. You should be able to utilize them, good, bad, or other. The consequences of that are you serve time in jail. You get murdered in your shooting spree. You get banned from Twitter, so on and so forth. What I don't think is you take that away from somebody when they haven't done something that isn't just petty verbal. You could say anything verbally. It should not hurt somebody. Now, there are people who do like the bullying where they'll jump accounts to accounts, as I said earlier. That is harassment. There's a difference if you're attacking one person. But if you say that I don't like cornbread and you get canceled because of it, and you're making or the comedians who make a joke about.
There's a difference between I hate cornbread and saying something anti-black, anti-trans, you know?
Well, so James Gunn had said something about a movie or something like that, and he got canceled 10 years later. Eddie Murphy, a bunch of people, comedians, right? People writing things that weren't about one person, no realistic thing, and they still got canceled. There was a guy who joked about child pedophilia 10 years ago on Twitter, got canceled, banned.
You need to look up this stuff. Dan Harmon also had that stuff too.
But that's
you need to look his shit up. It's fucked up.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people who said messed up things. Still freedom of speech. The Taliban is allowed to be on Twitter. The fucking Taliban.
I mean, are they allowed, or did they just keep making accounts?
Allowed. You're not going to believe me unless I show you. Yes.
They have a hashtag. That doesn't count. Anybody can hashtag anything.
Islamic Emirate AFG. And then you've got Kust something. I'm not going to be able to say any of this shit, but they can post whatever they want, and the leaders have, like verified people have their Twitters. You got Rolexes. No way. That's Patek. Oh my God. Just flexing on social media. What's the name of the account? There's no way. On Instagram, Arnold Putra is just flexing and has all these guys, Patek Philippe. That really? You see what I'm saying? This is allowed. Come on. Like, we know that I understand there are terroristic people on inside the Taliban. There are people who are just fighting for a living and trying to, do what they can against some oppression in their nation and their place. I'm not trying to say that. that all of these people are bad. I'm just saying, should they have a voice? Should they be allowed to be on social media?
Not if they're terrorists.
Why?
Because it's terrorism. And that's a crime against the entire country.
I think it's freedom of speech.
You're getting... I got plans tonight.
We got to finish. No, you got to finish.
No.
Let's do an outro.
I got plans at
I understand. We'll get more into freedom of speech. That'll be our next podcast. Will strictly be freedom of speech. What is freedom of speech? But yeah, I don't like it either way. But I think that him owning Twitter is a good thing, and I think San Francisco sucks. So if you're doing business in California, make sure that you understand that San Francisco and any major city controlled in California right now is similar to San Francisco, and they don't report the crime. Stay away, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you next time.
Life can be super happy, life can be super sad. I'm trying super hard to separate the good and bad. I go back to my future just to get to my past, but knowing me, about to launch